Monday through Friday mornings from 9:30 to noon on KPFT Houston.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Directly this time from Houston. I'm no longer in Chicago. We are right here in Houston, Texas. And before we even get started, I want all of us who are listening to my voice right now to give two great guys a thank you for making things work seamlessly, even as we were remote out of state, to El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Beber, who made it seem so simple and clear that we came through loud and clear from a hotel room in Chicago as we maintain this daily morning show live. Thank you guys in the studio for getting the job done.
Oh, we thought you were going to salute to Laurel and Hardy this morning. There's a couple of great guys.
How's it going out there in the studio, my friends?
Oh, pretty good. Here you go, Jack.
Good morning, Alberto.
Buenos dias, hermano. You sent me a little something. Is that going to be our tally of the morning?
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on.
No. Do what you intended to do.
Oh, no, that's a good one. I was sitting out there, just kind of enjoying the day, and I wrote down. Here, let me pull it up.
Okay, while he reaches for his phone, where he's going to give us some more Jack wisdom this morning, some Van Beber wisdom. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Sitting outside, faithful and loving dog at my side, trees overhead with no place to hide, radio playing, gonna go shop, fire up the pit, and deal with the forces of empire that way.
You know, I tell you sounded like a poet.
Well, I guess, deal what empire? The evil empire?
The evil fascist empire that's taking us all over.
You mean the one that doesn't strike back?
No, it strikes all the time.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's not hijack his show here. Egberto, you're on.
You're on.
All right, my brothers and my sisters throughout the country, throughout Houston, throughout Texas. Anyhow, I just got back from the Netroots Nation conference in Chicago, and when I sent out my newsletters, the ones that actually go to everybody, I have this thing that I said every year. I try to interview between 25 people and north of 50 people, depend on how it goes and how long interviews go, etc. There's just a certain amount of hours in a day. Well, this time around we did 44 plus in Chicago of interviews, and I have so much material that I've got to process with great people. The idea behind this conference is it's where progressives all over the country get together. It's called Netroots Nation. Look it up. We're going to have it in Baltimore next year. We had it in Chicago this year. We had it in Pittsburgh last year. We've had it in Arizona, Austin, Miami, Delaware, San Jose, California, all these places. We've had it. Alistair Water is in the house. Good morning, Alistair Waters. Welcome to see you as well in the chat. So we go out there and we really talk politics. We really talk what's best for the working class. I mean, it's a real thing. We get real folks in there, from the unions to the medical folk to the whole works. And I got a blanket of people in every strata out there interviewed. We've got politicians like Keith Ellison, who was the Secretary of not Secretary of State, is the Attorney General of Minnesota, that made sure the riots really didn't get out of hand with the George Floyd case. If you remember, that could have exploded into oblivion. His measured approach to the way he dealt with that thing there kind of calmed things down, as people saw that it wasn't going to be some sort of he calmed things down out there. I got to speak to the Secretary of State of Connecticut, the secretary, or rather the president of the AFT, the American Federation of Unions, which is 1.7 million people strong. A lot of activists, a lot of writers, etc. I tell you, we have a lot of stuff. And today we're going to talk to the national, or rather, you'll hear the interview I did with the national director of, let's see, it's the national director of the Working Families Party. It is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. I left there refreshed. I left there knowing that, you know what? We have people that are going to be real and believe in America. People that's not going to give that false belief. You know, I just, before I came on to the air, I was taking a look at Morning Joe. I get a lot of clips from Morning Joe. I get a lot of clips from these other things, because what they do is I take a lot of times the news that these guys give and add to it or reinterpret it, because sometimes the way they look at it from a what point of view, I don't want to sound too objectional, but sometimes the way they interpret certain things with regards to the working class behooves me. You're going to see when we talk about the UPS strike that's on the horizons, what I mean by that in a minute, or rather, not in a minute, but after I do the interview, that we have to make sure that every policy that we look at, not how it affects some multimillionaire or some billionaire, but how it affects people. And being at that conference, you saw thousands of people. And yes, I didn't say hundreds. I said you see thousands of people that actually are going to make a difference, and that are making a difference. And Maurice Mitchell, who is the national director of the Working's Party. Well, I tell you what, let's talk about what the program is about. Title of the show is Christie Says He Will Lie. Actually, I'm going to start with that one just for the heck of it. Working Families Party's director dispels the myth on centrism, and the UPS strike is imminent if we can get to it. So, folks, this is a call-in show. We may or may not get to everything. 713-526-5738 is the number. 713-526-5738, extension number 2. Please don't wait till the end to call. Please don't wait till the end to call. What I'm going to do is, this one is real short. I'm going to play this one here. Christie, as you know, wants to make that debate stage so he can keep that attack on Donald Trump because, again, we all know Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to America. And even though the vast majority of Americans will, in fact, vote, probably 8 million more will vote for whoever the Democrats put up, because if they put compared to a Donald Trump, the problem is he can still lose with that kind of a win, with Biden winning that much popular vote, because of this. People call it the error in the Constitution. I call it an aberration in the Constitution. I call it a power grab of the Constitution. But since I have a caller and the interview is about 20 minutes or so, I want to go to the caller first. David, come on in.
Good morning. Did you hear me?
Yes, I can, David. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Alberto. I'm a first-time caller, few months listener.
Thank you so kindly for listening, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just want to recommend something. I don't know if you already know, but Robert Wright, this is his last year in Berkeley as a teacher. And he has available in YouTube a 12-course class.
YouTube, yeah.
Wealth and Poverty, it's called.
Yeah, sir, that is, yeah, I am aware of that. And thank you for pointing that out.
Okay.
And that is a good resource. You're absolutely right. I don't think I've ever mentioned that. So go ahead and repeat it, sir.
It's Wealth and Poverty. It's on YouTube and on the Robert Wright's page.
Right. And that is
Very
robertreich.com, I
interesting.
believe.
Yesterday. Yeah, Wealth and Poverty. I mean, he has many videos, but this is on the playlist. If you go on the Wealth and Poverty, you'll find I think it's a very eye-opening class.
You are correct, sir. It is, and folks, you can find that at robertreich.org and get a link to it. robertreich.org, O-R-G. And Reich is spelled R-E-I-C-H. Thank you very much for that, David. Anything else you'd like to add beforehand? And by the way, thanks for calling in, and thanks for being a first-time caller, sir.
Yeah, no, just go ahead and keep going.
All right, thank you, sir. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, sir, we're gonna start with what I think is something funny. As you know, a few of the candidates said we are not going to sign that pledge that says we are definitely going to support whoever the Republican Party nominates as the person leading the party for the presidency. And we have heard from Texas who said it would be a lie to do that. Well, of course, you know, Donald Trump signed it back in 2016, and when it was asked on stage if he will follow his pledge to support whoever was the nominee if it weren't him, and he said to everybody, no. Well, you know what? Christie said, well, you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And while I can understand how the ethics behind a former Representative Hurd from Texas, who is also running for president, while I can understand his stance in a country that could possibly be led by a heathenist thug, I think what Christie is saying here is apropos. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
First debate, as you note, now almost a month away. I want you to take a listen to what your fellow 2024 candidate, former Texas Congressman Will Hurd, had to say about those who take the debate pledge to support the eventual nominee. This is what he had to say a couple weeks ago.
I can't lie to get access to a microphone. I'm not going to support Donald Trump. I recognize the impact that it has on my ability to get access to the debate stage, but I can't lie. It'll be easy to say I'll do it, and then when it comes down, change your mind. But I just can't. I can't do that.
In Will Hurd's formulation, are you lying to make the debate stage by signing a pledge to support the nominee, no matter who it is, including if it's Donald Trump?
Well, I won't see Will Hurd on the debate stage, and that's okay by me. The fact is, we've got to change our party, Jake, and change our country. And we had these debate pledges 8 years ago, as you'll recall, and all of us signed them. And then when we got on the debate stage and we were asked to reaffirm it, Donald Trump refused to raise his hand, the only one of 10 candidates who did. The fact is, he has set the precedent here, and I will sign the debate pledge, and I will take it every bit as seriously as he did in 2016.
We understand what that said. I will take the pledge that I signed as seriously as Donald Trump himself took the pledge. I will take it as seriously as Donald Trump took the pledge. Anyhow, folks, I realized as I started the show, I didn't tell you guys. Remember, you can also watch the show on YouTube by going to politicsdoneright.tv, politicsdoneright.tv. As well, you can listen on Facebook by going to facebook.com/KPFT Houston, facebook.com/KPFT Houston, or download the app TuneIn from your app store, whether it be Android or Apple, and search for KPFT, and you can listen to us on your phone, or go to our website, kpft.org, kpft.org. Welcome aboard, Russ MCT on the chat. Thank you so kindly for being here, who says, Robert Reich is great, well worth listening to. Absolutely so. And those of you that are listening here as well, thank you, because we cover a lot of what's in the topics that Robert Wright covers, and even sometimes we paraphrase some of that great guy. And notice I said he was a great guy. He was once the labor secretary for Bill Clinton. Sometimes Bill Clinton made him quite upset because, again, Robert Wright really knows the number and he doesn't play games with the numbers. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started now with the Working Party's national director. He will talk about, well, listen to it. I think you're going to find it quite powerful. Let's get started right this minute. Let me introduce you, Maurice Mitchell, who is the chairman, director, president, what you want to call it, national director of the Working Families Party. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Well, you know, the last time we spoke actually was before the pandemic.
Yes.
And you know, things were, there's a particular talk that you gave about, don't tell me that there isn't that you want to be non-ideological, because being I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Being non-ideological is in effect ideological. Expand on that for me.
Okay, well,
We're going right into it.
I mean, I think in our discourse, there's this,
And I'm sorry, Maurice.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So in our discourse, in like the popular discourse, and a lot of like the mainstream discourse, there is this illusion that you can be non-ideological, right? And oftentimes, when people speak derisively of ideologues, like they're often talking about people on the left, actually, especially inside of the Democratic Party, when they're debating ideology. And I think that is outrageous for a number of reasons. Number one, it is assuming that the people, like, let's just take the Democratic Party, then I'm going to go broadly. But inside the Democratic Party, when you hear these debates, it's making this assumption that people that are called quote unquote centrists, and I hate that term, that they don't have ideology, right? That they're sort of like blank slates ideologically, when they're advancing a very particular ideological worldview of incrementalism, of neoliberalism, this idea that the markets can kind of handle all the issues that we face, even these big existential issues that we face. That is a particular philosophy and a particular ideology that is informing public policy, informing debate. So we should name it, we should surface it, and we should have that philosophical debate instead of denying the debate by claiming that there isn't an ideology. And there's a reason for that, because they have succeeded in having their ideology be the common sense. Right? So you don't have to really like surface it when it's just in the air. Which is why it's so important for those of us that have issues with it, for those of us that believe that there's huge fallacies, and there's more of us than them, right? Most people believe like, hey, this stuff isn't working. Right, we may not have the ideological terminology in place, but most of us are like, the system isn't working, big business doesn't work for us, politics are corrupt, wealthy people and corporations have more power and influence than they need. Well, there's actually an ideology that puts that in place, right? And we want to have that conversation, and they don't want to have that conversation.
They're scared of the conversation.
Absolutely, which is why we even have this fallacy that there's such a thing as being non-ideological, right? Or that there are this both-sidism. Right?
Oh, I hate that,
The both-sidism, that there's like a far right and a far left, and there's problems in both of these extremes, and we need to meet each other in the middle, right? And what I always like to say is like, look, the right and the left are not equal. Right? You have a right and you have a far right that is violent, that is authoritarian, that is anti-democratic, then in some forms of the far right are fascistic. And as much as I could see, the worst thing you could say about the left or like the far left is that, sometimes people on the left could be really annoying, right? And unless there's a way that you could weaponize being annoying and people could be annoyed to death, we should not be both siding these things, right? When people on the far right are actually organizing in militias, are storming the Capitol, are trying to use public policy in order to prevent democracy from existing, we need everybody, people who identify as progressive, people who identify as centrist, people who identify as conservative, recognizing that there is a particular strand of right-wing ideology that seeks to destroy all other ideas.
Right.
And we cannot tolerate that,
Right.
right? And so we could only have that conversation if we're explicit about the fact that everything in public life is part of an ideological project.
What your belief system is.
Yes, it's your belief system. And like, you know, the term ideology might be confusing for folks. It's just like your belief system.
Right.
It's just the thing that you use to understand where we are and where we want to go. Everybody has one of those.
Right.
Some of them are more coherent than others. Some of them are more consistent and clear than others, but we all have them. And if you think you don't have them, then likely you're replicating the dominant status quo worldview.
Because you don't really have to talk about having an ideology because the system is you.
Yes. So if you think you don't have one, then the things that you're doing are likely replicating the status quo. And what the status quo says is the systems that are in place, the racial and class hierarchies that are in place, the inequality that's in place, those things are fine.
Right.
And we want to lock them in place.
Right.
And so by carrying on in a non-ideological way, not being curious about your grounding philosophy, you are putting in place and reaffirming that thing. And you should be aware of that. You shouldn't think that what you're doing is neutral. Right. And that's why I said that when I said that, and why I think it's so important. I actually wrote about this.
Right.
We need to be clear about who we are ideologically as organizations and as individuals. And I actually believe that the more ideological we are, like the more clear we are about our grounding philosophy, the better it is in society, because then I can say like, oh, this is where you are. Right. This is where I am. This is where we could collaborate. This is where we have differences. Mm-hmm. But when everything's all mushy, it's really hard to do that. And that is actually by the design of the people at the top of the hierarchy.
Mushiness is increased in entropy, and all of that is what is needed. In fact, profit is made on people not knowing stuff. That's why we don't have Medicare for all and all of that. The issues that you have when there's so many choices, to not real choices,
right, not real choices.
But that's what occurs. Now, I said I wanted to talk something about it, and a lot of people would not really tie these together. First of all, we know that the working families organization, the Working Family Party.
Yeah.
I always mess up.
Sure.
That we know what that it stands for: livable wages and all the good things that progressives know most Americans want. 60, 70, 80% of Americans.
Yes.
Something is happening now called AI.
Yes.
AI is going to affect, for once now, the class that thought they were unaffectable, if that's a word, are suddenly going to be affected because writers are going to be replaced and all of these are going to replace them. Now, people are scared.
Yeah.
I am not scared. I'm saying we can embrace AI if we had it done in a format that's honest. In other words, AI is nothing more than productivity increases. If productivity increases is simply for the wealthy, then it's a problem because, not only the working class loses jobs, but now the regular folks lose jobs. However, if we have policies now that says, by the way, AI was a composite knowledge of us all. And as a composite knowledge of us all, we should all partake in that you don't need 50 operators, you only need 10 operators now. Well, we probably need to reduce the work week by 50% or 60%. If we look at AI as the composite knowledge and meaning we need to work less, it would work. But in a capitalist system as we have it today, the spoils are going to go, you know where. This question comes.
Let me hear the question.
The question is coming. How is the working families parties and others, instead of fighting AI like I've seen in the unions in Hollywood, etc., use AI as a matter of saying, no, what it means is this composite knowledge, the productivity from this composite knowledge needs to be shared. There are two ways to skin a cat.
Okay.
Stop it or.
So let me reframe that a little bit, right? So I don't think there's any real stopping of technology.
No way.
Right?
Yes.
Technology is a tool, right? The thing that I'm curious about is who's wielding that tool.
Power, yes.
Right? The other questions I'm curious about is that who is realizing the upside from engaging that tool, and if there is a downside, who has to hold the downside?
Right.
It is a system question.
Right.
Right? If the people who are wielding that tool are people who are already privileged, people like Silicon Valley VCs and others. And if they are also the people who will realize the upside, and then the downsides will be held by all of us, then number one, that's called capitalism. And I think we're on the road for AI to do that. Not because it's AI, but because we're living under this economic system, right? Now, so the question is, how can our organizing leverage this moment when workers are realizing their power, when actors are going on strike, writers are going on strike, UPS drivers are going on strike. How can we take this moment where AI and automation and robotics are sort of reimagining work? How can we use that as an occasion to lead, right? And so what I'm interested in, what is going to be the social justice application of this technology, right? And then also, what are the systems applications? How can we perhaps have a different economic system, right? Where, all right, if this technology, right, is creating more productivity and creating more value, how can we realize the value? Because when you look at all of these technologies, from automation to AI to right, they're leveraging the commons.
That's my point.
So they're leveraging the commons. They're leveraging what is our common value, right? For example, AI is just like pulling in
knowledge from everybody.
From the internet, just knowledge from everybody. Things that maybe you wrote, things
Exactly.
that I wrote, right? Just sucking it up and making a model out of that. But then a handful of white men in Silicon Valley are going to be the ones that benefit from the total knowledge of the. So how can we have public policy in place, right, that says if we're going to realize these benefits, perhaps from automation, from the attention economy, and these algorithms, from AI, all of these tools, how can the public policy be put in place to ensure that the wealth and the capacity that is derived from these things benefit the commons that actually built these things? And a lot of these things, like for example, like Elon and Tesla, right?
They didn't
like
do anything.
But you know, first of all, Elon didn't start Tesla, right? But that's a whole other thing. But Tesla benefited from a huge government contracts, right? That's one of the reasons why Tesla's Tesla, right? And then like so many things we overlook as part of the commons, like the interstate highways, the internet, the infrastructure of the internet, a lot of the research and development coming out of our public institutions, our public universities, right? So the public is creating this infrastructure and the groundwork for these businesses and for these VC people to be able to even benefit, right? And there's the public knowledge on the internet was created by us. There should be public policy put in place, and it can't just be U.S. because this technology is everywhere. Global public policy put in place to ensure that we, as humanity, can actually benefit from the capacity that's being built from these technologies, and that is on us and our organizing. And we need to constrain these corporations to hold them accountable to make that happen.
I am glad you said that, and because one of the things that I've been putting AI into the productivity domain and the commons, because that's where it comes from. But if you watch the news and watch most of the organizations that get play, we don't hear that message, which is something that I think is important. And I think it is on us, it's on progressives to change the narrative, because the AI narrative is not what you just said, which it is. And to put it bluntly, AI is just one technology. But from the building of the cars where all this money goes to a few, to every technology that we've had, it has always been the technology of the commons. It has everything that you see here technological. Even when Intel built the processor, it wasn't on just Intel, but it was on the person who understood materials. It was on the person who understood all these things. And I'm glad that you're putting it that way. My next question is, how do we nationalize, internationalize the message beyond what the mainstream media will do? And you say I have the answer. I want to see what you are going to say about that.
So So you have the answer?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm curious what your answer is, but I'm a broken record, right?
Yes.
So ultimately, I think through our organizing, right? We need to have a popular conversation about these basic facts.
Right.
You started off with ideology, right? We're often kind of confused about these things, right? So even though all of the value of an economy comes from us, just like regular people doing what we do. And how do I know that? Well, if one day every single fund manager
died.
Let's
get
right?
Yes.
Our economy, our way of life will go on in perpetuity.
Yes.
If that happened tomorrow.
Right.
And the reason why we know this for sure is because we all experienced COVID, right? We all experienced that.
Yes.
And then the paradigm that somehow placed these titans of capital on top and all of us on the bottom, they got flipped.
Exactly.
And everybody understood
yes.
the value of the what do they call the quote unquote frontline workers.
Yes.
Right? All of that frontline work is the actual work that perpetuates our economy every single day.
Right.
You know, from food delivery people to nurses, to doctors and orderlies, to sanitation workers, to the working class, right? Those folks, we're not really sure what they do or what value they actually bring into the economy. And they're like, you know, either like the people who are like developing more and more Baroque sort of financial products that are based on other financial products that are based on other financial products. But the person that's actually like it's so abstract, right?
Yes.
That it's really even hard to understand what's being bought and sold and everything else, right? Like, at the end of the day, we weren't concerned with them and making sure that they could work every single day. We were concerned with how can the food delivery person, how can the people in working behind cash registers and groceries, how can nurses, right? So the point I'm making here is that we need to have a proper frame, a proper ideological frame to have this conversation. If we are the ones that are constantly the people who produce the value in this economy, then it's only natural that we should receive the benefit from the value that we put in. How are we putting in all the inputs, but some folks who actually aren't...
that don't even know how to do it.
Right. How are they the ones that are... So with this question around technology, AI, robotics, you know, on and on and on and on, to me, the fundamental problem is the economic system. And once we realize that, then we will organize.
Right.
And we will organize, and I think the one thing currently, as long as we have a oligarchic form of democracy, that we could use that in order to, this is what we do at Working Families. We believe that working people should govern, not the wealthy, not corporations. We should use the limited purchase we have on democracy to commandeer government.
Exactly.
Right? So that we could create public policy in order to constrain capital so that we could ensure that we realize the value, everyday people realize the value of our economy. What does that look like? Right? A robust public healthcare system, including mental health, a robust top-class educational system from K to university, the commons, parks and libraries, and like we are the wealthiest country in the history of countries, right? And so there's enough wealth for all of us to experience that. It's the public policy, because we have a corporately captured government. It's the public policy that is so skewed to those VC people in Silicon Valley and the already wealthy and the corporations. And the one thing that we have is our ability to be able to seize control of the government and then create public policy in order to constrain those folks. And we should use that. Also, as workers, we should use our ability as workers to organize together and be able to, that thing that I talk about, the inputs that we're putting into our economy, our labor, organize our labor in order to demand from the corporate class and from the wealthy the conditions that we want. And which is why I'm so excited that the Teamsters look like they might strike.
On UPS,
right? On UPS, that actors are on the verge of striking, that writers are striking, working people are recognizing the power, recognizing, oh, I have something I have my labor, this thing that's so valuable that the ruling class takes for granted. If we organize together, we could change the conditions.
We are excited about this. We're excited to have you. You have another appointment, and I don't want to break the promise, so thank you so kindly.
It was so good, brother. It's been too
long. Here. Absolutely, so thank you for being on Politics Done Right, my man.
Absolutely, and could I just make a shout out?
Absolutely,
if anybody's interested in organizing with us at the Working Families Party, the best thing you could do is you could either text WFP to 30403 or find us at Working Families on Twitter, on Instagram, on all the social media, or go to our website, workingfamilies.org.
Thank you so kindly.
Thank you,
been
brother.
A pleasure every time.
Absolutely.
To speak to you. And we must do this again sooner
Let's
than
do it.
the last time, okay?
All right, take care.
All right, take care now. Well, folks, that was Maurice Mitchell, who is the National Director of the Working Families Party. And that party, it's a progressive party that's been growing for a while. They've actually had mayors, etc. In actually New York City, not New York City, but New York, they're very prominent in New York and several other states where their candidates actually win. So anyhow, before we go, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Anybody wants to discuss some of the issues that we spoke about there, please feel free to give us a call, 713-526-5738. There's something rather important that he mentioned as far as a lot of conservatives, when progressives make the kinds of statements that Maurice Mitchell makes, like what do they do up there? I want you to really consider the part of the interview where he said, you know how we know what folks are really worth? Remember the pandemic. And in the pandemic, what we noted is all the people that had worth, the real worth in the people, those people that are the servers, the doctors, the nurses, the grocery store check person, the UPS driver that was making sure you could get the things that you were scared to go to the store to get because you could get sick. But they were the sacrificial lambs. They are the ones that made the economy continue to chug along. Those are the people who made the economy chug along. And Maurice also said, what do those VCs really do? They're just puppeteers. They don't have the knowledge to do the things that they pay for. They have one thing, capital. That's all that they've got, capital. And capital has given them the ability to, even though they can't do anything, you throw them on a desert island with a farmer, and the farmer can survive. The farmer can eat. But these guys wouldn't know what to do with the land. And those are the people we think deserve magnitudes of money more than us, tons of money more than us, that the UPS driver is trying to fight to get $24 an hour for putting their body at risk. And the CEO says they are or rather, this wasn't that particular CEO. The CEO of the writers, etc., said, oh, they are unrealistic for what they want. But he's making $18 million for sitting in an office doing nothing. The UPS guy who heads the UPS said they are scared to pay those guys that kind of an income because what if their money dropped? And you know what? They're making record profits. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm coming to you, Johnny. I wrote an article called as we as Americans need to learn and start asserting our worth. You see, the slave mentality. Slavery used to be a pigmentation issue. It's no longer that. I always speak about certain pastors. You go into the church and they give you cash and they give you the things that you want, and they make you feel comfortable and they make you feel a part of this system. And the pastor knows what he's doing. He's fomenting the taking of your mind, because he knows when he takes your mind, all that you own is then his. Remember that I notice I'm doing it in a male state, as a male statement, because usually that's where you find these evil types of pastors. But it's about the mind. And in America, we have mind control right now. And the mind control is that Elon Musk is a great guy. Look at what he's built. Elon Musk has built nothing. But that you have people in the media revolting that this private guy got a spacecraft up. First of all, he didn't. He touched space, something we did in 1969. We didn't touch space. We went to the moon and back on the public, on all of your money, guys. All you baby boomers out there, thank you very much for taking us to the moon. Elon Musk is using billions to attain much less. And it's your billions he's using, as the media makes it seem like it is him who has the knowledge to do what he doesn't have the knowledge to do. It's about asserting our worth. It's about remembering when you look in the mirror. Are you somebody who goes ahead? Do you flip a burger? Do you flip a burger? If you do, okay. By the way, folks, I was told to let you know that we are at lower powered on the transmitter. So if you hear a little bit of static, it's because our power is at a lower power. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm pretty sure we'll find that out later on. But anyhow, please remember, when you look in the mirror, my brothers and my sisters, when you look in that mirror, it is you who are worthy. It is you who make America run. And for those who defend the corporate state, the corporations, etc., they're doing tower work is what I understand. For those of you who do the work, you're looking in the mirror right now. You are the ones that make the economy run. So don't dare consider Elon Musk a great person as someone who created something. Don't dare. And I can tell you from a personal point of view, and I've written this in several of my a couple of my books, I believe. My personal income was pretty much stolen because Jeff Bezos got a patent for something called one click, something in software that all of us who have half of a brain knows to do, but he patented it. Look up the Amazon one-click patent. There are hundreds of us out there who were developing software, cart software, that couldn't because Amazon, well, I don't know if it's Amazon or Bezos, held on to the one-click patent. Go ahead, Johnny. Come on in.
Thank you so much. Finally, somebody is putting Elon Musk in his place. Are you hearing that, Steve? Elon Musk is overrated, buddy. Overrated. You are so right. We went to the moon and back. We had the Apollo program. All that research, all that stuff, all that fundamental scientific knowledge was established by the taxpayer's dime, by scientists at universities, not by Elon and his right-wing people cheering like crazy because a rocket blew up before it got into before it escaped Earth's gravity. Please. But that's not why I'm calling. I'm calling.
Go for it, my brother.
I'm calling to ask you my takeaway of your buddy from the Working Class Party, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but is he saying, in other words, that the corporate industrial oligarchy, the CEOs, in other words, that they are not the right ones to be creating and fomenting policy, but in fact, policy should be created from the same people who create the wealth every day. People like you and me, the burger flippers, the policemen, the cops, the teachers, the lawyers, the doctors. People who actually work every day for a living, and not the people who just rake in the money and sit in Wall Street on their ass doing nothing but stealing, like Mitt Romney.
Yes, you understood what Maurice Mitchell said perfectly. And Maurice Mitchell said that. And let me tell you, whenever you hear a CEO says, well, he deserved his pay because he made things more efficient. Remember, not even that he did. A burger flipper, somebody who flips a burger. A lot of times they're in there and they flip in a burger and they say, you know, manager, if I arrange the burgers in this way on the panel, I can actually get about 3 more burgers every hour. And the manager said, oh man, that's cool. All right. And they pass it up the chain and they redesign equipment based on what the average worker sees. The average worker doesn't get a raise for the efficiency that he created or she created, but the manager gets all the kudos because, hey, we made a bigger machine that does it better. No, you designed a machine based on the input from working people who realized if certain things were done more efficiently, they could do more. And again, so you remember the analogy that I do with the pastor when you go into a church and they treat you super nice and they don't even ask you for money initially, but later on, because they know when they have your mind, they have you. And right now, corporations have the minds of too large a percentage of Americans, and you'll see a lot of Americans defending these wealthy people that don't give a hoot about them, or that have created a healthcare system that is screwing them, have created a energy system that's screwing them, have created all these systems which they use to extract money from the people. I tell you, my brothers and sisters, look in the mirror. It is you who are worthy. Come on in again, Johnny.
You know what's scary? Last night, I happened upon a whole bunch of videos. I didn't even realize how many videos on YouTube are available that are actually showing the work, the research being done in developing AI and robots that resemble human beings, and robots that work in shipping and planting and medicine.
Yes.
And, assembly. And you know what's going to happen? You know where this is going?
Yes.
In order to get back our power, we're going to not only have to teach each other how to engage in civil discourse and debate and our negotiation skills, but we're also going to have to figure out how to combat and destroy these robots, these police robot dogs, and these drones.
You know, Johnny, what I try to tell folks, Johnny, hold on a second. I'm trying to tell people AI is out of the box. AI has been out of the box. The media just hasn't covered it. But whenever you call into a station and the station says, how can I help you? And you hear, and it's a robot that's actually talking to you and answering your question. That has always been AI. It's just that we have so many components now being done by automation that the automation in composite now is in fact AI, artificial intelligence, okay? But it's been growing for decades. It's been growing for decades. We just have to understand that it is here to stay, and it's not a bad thing. It's a thing that needs to be managed because, as you know, we have to make sure humanity, again, that a few people don't take care of the composite knowledge of humanity. Composite knowledge meaning all of our knowledge put together is our composite knowledge. And all of that knowledge is what AI is able to aggregate, put together into a model, as Maurice was saying. It puts into a model, and that model is the smartest person possible because it can hold all the knowledge of the world. And that's fine. But that should mean we work a lot less. Hey, I got another call. Johnny, anything else you want to say real quick?
Yes, I would like to retort real quick. The problem with AI is that this is not the discovery of fire, as I said last week. We're not learning how to cook food or heat our house or burn our house down. If you burn your house down, that's one thing. It's limited. But AI has the capability of doing massive damage like nuclear power. We have created nuclear power plants, and we don't know how to deal with the nuclear waste.
Thank you, Johnny. Johnny, you're a genius. Let me go. Let me throw you off, please, Johnny. I got to go to another call, but you're a great guy. Keep calling, keep listening, and keep giving your great input. Let's go to David real quickly. David, come on in. Let's get to David.
Hey, I couldn't hear what Johnny was saying, but this is some interesting information I got over one of the little phone blogs that I get. There was a figure that I received in this thing. It talked about Jeff Bezos in the year 2022. They said that Jeff Bezos, the amount of money that Jeff Bezos made in 2022 was equivalent to 125 times the minimum wage. And now this he made every second of the year of 2022. So I did the math, and here's what it boils down to. Humor me on this. Give me a little time, because I'm boiled down to the figure.
Okay, you're not going to get a lot of time, brother Tag, because we got another call on limited time. So do as quick as you can, my brother.
I'm going to go fast as I can. There's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. That's 3,600 seconds. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. There is 31,536,000 seconds in a year. So you figure out what is 125 times the minimum wage? It comes out to $906.25. This is what Jeff Bezos made every second of the year. This is how much money Jeff Bezos made in 2022. It comes out to $3,035,340,000 in 2022.
There you go. And you know what? He didn't make you made one mistake in your statement. And who am I to correct my caller? But I'm going to correct you there. It's not his money.
He made that. He didn't earn it. Well,
he didn't earn it.
As far as the government is concerned, it's his money. And I'll tell you what. If you think you're going to take it away from him.
Actually, let me tell you, no. I can't take it away from him. But we, listen to me well, we can create policy to make sure he steals no more. Okay? I'm
not quite as sanguine about that as you are.
Well, let me tell you. No, Brother David, we must be. Yeah. We must be. We must, remember what I talk about. We must assert our worth. We must look into that mirror. They depend on us saying they are not strong. Their strength only comes from our implicit weakness. They are no stronger than we are. Their strength comes from us believing we are weak. Remember that.
And you gave me one minute about dealing with facts, and we can talk all these flattering things about how we're strong, but here's the
wait, David, brother David, it is not flattery. It is a mindset change. They don't have arms. They depend on the military that the working class is in. They depend on the police that the working class is in. Again, David, this is not about flattery. This is about, just like they reversed our mind thinking with the Powell memo to make us believe we are weak, but we're not. You and I and others, as we grow, can revert to the mindset that says, no, we are strong not because we're saying we're strong. We are strong because we are strong in the numbers. That is a statistical and a factual fact. So let's remember that, David. That's what it's at. David, I got to go to Tag, but thank you so kindly for calling with your wisdom, sir.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Morning, Egberto. I just wanted to
sir?
say quickly about change the topic a little bit, maybe for another day here. Saw Tom Cotton on TV this weekend, Senator Tom Cotton, and he was talking about abortion tourism, if you can believe that.
Yeah, and right. Yeah.
Also, Senator Tommy Tuberman's been holding up military appointments because
yes, he has.
The military wants to pay for people to go someplace else to get abortions. Well, I think we really need to take a good hard look at sepsis pregnancies and why these people have to travel to another state to get this work done. And these Republicans are so far away from reality, that we really need to put the pressure on them to take another look at this topic. So abortion travelism, give me a break.
It's ridiculous, brother. It's ridiculous. But look, thank you very much for calling in, Tag. You're a great guy. All right?
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too, sir. All right, folks, look, let me tell you, we're close to the end of the show. Please, we aren't going to get everything covered. So go ahead and go to the newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Every morning at 5 o'clock, that newsletter goes out with the topics that we're going to cover. In case you call in, because this is your show, in case you call in and change the subject or we don't get to the entire subject, you can always reach it from the newsletter and cover it. Generally, I don't carry things over unless it's the way we designed to carry it over, or unless you change it. So the newsletter is always there for you to figure out what we're going to talk about. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I want to make a quick statement about the UPS, the oncoming possibility of a UPS strike. Earlier, our brother David was talking about our implicit strength. And I think he sort of said, we can sing the glory, glory, hallelujah and all the words, but I think he's a bit dubious. Not everybody is going to be as strong, let's say, as he is, as we are here mentally, and that we allow others to take advantage of us, and that's just how humanity may be. No, it's not. Let me just say that, if I honestly believe I am my brother's keeper, my sister's keeper. We all should have the mindset that we are in a collective. And the reason why is we are. We can't do things on our own. I depend on the farmer. You depend on the person who makes the microchips. We will never be, while we like to push the individualistic nature of the American system, it has always been a farce. You can only be an individual if you have slaves. We are a collective. We depend on each other. There's no way I could do without my garbage man, my mechanic, my engineer, my doctor, my lawyer, all these things. We depend on each other, and that is called a society. And we create rules in the society to ensure that one can't take advantage of the other. And that is what's broken in our society. We have allowed an economic system that screws the most to enrich a few. That's just what we have. I've got to get out of here right now. So let me give the 15-second closer to both my brothers in the studio, Van Bebeck and El Señor Reynolds.
Well, I was a little disappointed you didn't say my board operator.
No, we are a collective, brother.
I know. I'm just messing with you this morning. It's a Monday morning. We can do that. And I think Jack has some closing remarks here.
Hey,
15 seconds, Jack.
Elon Musk is stealing space from the people. He is a hitman, and SpaceX is destroying NASA, turning it into an amusement park, basically.
And I think wait, Jack. All of that captures what you need to say, in my humble opinion. But I gotta go because Reynolds gonna kick me off. So my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. Love you guys all. I am what? Out.